Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to talk about Ethereum dubious speculation. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Also, make sure you check out the sale on the premium list, lock in the lower rate. Check that out in the description below as well. Let's go ahead and jump in. So we know that short-term price predictions are basically worth nothing, okay? And I don't know what's going to happen in the short term, and I make no claims to know what's going to happen in the short term. But what we can do is we can dubiously speculate based on prior movements, okay? Ethereum is putting in new all-time highs as we speak. This could go up there with headlines like "I found a quarter," right? Because when Bitcoin is in a bounce above the 20-day SMA, Bitcoin had an all-time high just shy of $65,000. It came back down and it's in a bounce, and the bounce is still lower than the prior all-time high by a decent amount. I mean, the valuation of Bitcoin would have to go up another modest 14% for Bitcoin to put in a new all-time high. And because of this, Ethereum is taken off, and so you get the continuation of the Ethereum tsunami. So Ethereum right now is at 35.75. So you can see that we have been putting in new all-time highs. We went to 35.83. Now what we're going to do is a little bit of dubious speculation. Who doesn't like themselves a bit of dubious speculation in the morning? So let's go check it out. We're going to look at the log of the price over the 20-week SMA. This is not yet necessarily used to give us the exact target, but to say what's theoretically possible. And by the way, we did a video about a few weeks ago talking about dubious speculation when the valuation was closer to $1,700, and we said it could go to $3,500 in the short term, and here we are. So let's look at this and try to understand what is theoretically possible and not break any of our macro models. Okay, so the first thing we should note is that this indicator down here is nothing more than the natural log of the price over the 20-week SMA. Okay, that's all it is. Nothing more, nothing less. And so we have to know what is the 20-week SMA if we can project anything out. So the 20-week SMA is actually right at $1,800. Okay, so the 20-week SMA for Ethereum now is at 1,800. That makes things super easy, super easy. So what we can do is we can speculate on where would the valuation of Ethereum be if we reach the same level of overvaluation that we reached back in January. Okay, from the 20-week SMA, where would we go? Well, we can see it reached a valuation here of about 0.87. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Wolfram Alpha. We're going to say the natural log of some price divided by 1,800, which is the 20-week moving average, equals 0.87. Where does that put the valuation of Ethereum? So what is theoretically possible in the short term? Okay, 42.96. Now you might say, oh well, that seems reasonable. A few weeks ago, a lot of people may have argued that that would have seemed absurd when we were lower than $2,000. But now you can see how actually reasonable it would be to go to that level. That would be the same level of extension that we had in January. You can note that we actually have been generally moving up with a level of extension from the 20-week moving average. If you look at the last several years, starting from October of 2018, we had this move, of course, but we keep sort of slowly trending up with these short-term peaks, okay? And the distance between these peaks here, this one was about 175 days, this one was about 154 days. Currently we're out about 126 days. So imagine a scenario where the valuation of Ethereum goes up for 30 more days or so. Maybe we'll come back up to this level. Now, what would that imply? Let's be a little bit conservative and say it goes to, say, 1.05. And by the way, when I say conservative, I don't mean in the sense that we have to go there, but in terms of what is our theoretical short-term limit, what could that imply? What could it imply? And so that would put us at around, let's just be a little bit conservative and say 1.03. So if we were to change this from 0.87 to if we change it to 1.03, it would actually put us at just over $5,000 per Ether. Okay, just over $5,000. And if we go to, let's go to an exchange that has a little bit more data, because the other thing we like to do is look at this macro downtrend, okay? And you might say, well, why do we have to have a downtrend here? Well, we don't have to have one, but the idea is if you look at Bitcoin's chart, and let's switch this over to a longer time frame, or this index here that goes back to goes all the way back to 2010. We're going to put on our log of the price over the 20-week SMA, and despite the fact that everyone says, this time is different, you can see in fact that the extension from the 20-week moving average has more or less remained unchanged, okay? Diminished extension from the 20-week moving average every time we go up to it. So that actually has not changed. Diminished extension from the 20-week SMA has not changed. And we can see that, well, what's happened for Bitcoin. So maybe we would speculate that that could happen for Ethereum too. Obviously, there's going to be some wiggle room here. I mean, maybe it looks something like this, maybe it looks something like that. But then, that means if you're going up to these levels, way up here, which of course would also correspond to about 1.03, if we were to go there, that would imply close to a $5,000 Ether. Now, again, I'm not saying Ether has to go to $5,000, but what it shows is that the long-term model would allow for it, and we're not doing anything different than Ethereum's always done. Okay, that's the point. And I think these theoretical upper bounds help sort of cap your expectations, because a few weeks ago we said, all right, guys, it seems like Ethereum in the short term could go to $3,500 based on this dubious speculation from the 20-week SMA. Now that we're here, you might say, well, aren't you just moving the goalpost now that we're at 3,500? Remember, this indicator is a function of the 20-week moving average. So a few weeks ago, the 20-week moving average was, $1,300. And next week, the 20-week moving average will be higher. So it is a moving goalpost, because it's a function of a variable that is not constant, okay? And because the variable is not constant, the 20-week SMA, then the projection on what is theoretically possible in terms of diminished extension from the 20-week moving average is variable as well. We can also go look at the Ether Bitcoin valuation and discuss the idea of us now breaking out of this channel, okay? And we obviously don't want to schedule the interviews with Forbes just yet, because this could always just be a wick, but it is looking somewhat promising. Currently above this, random line I drew, we're about 17%. So in order for us to come back down to it and have a weekly close in it, we would need to drop all the way down to about 0.053 or 0.054. So it would be a fairly significant drop. You can see some symmetry as well between us dropping to this level. We basically just went straight down, and now we're just going straight back up. And so maybe if we continue to dubiously speculate, maybe we'll go up to these levels up here against Bitcoin. This would be a valuation of 0.085. That would be getting pretty high up there, guys. So 0.085 times the current valuation of Bitcoin would put us, again, just shy of $5,000 per ETH. So we're just talking about what's theoretically possible, not to say that it has to happen, not to say that it will happen in the short term, but what is theoretically possible. I certainly expect Ethereum to reach $5,000 at some point. Whether that happens in this run or maybe later on in the market cycle isn't that big of a deal. We're just showing that even at this point in the market cycle, a $5,000 Ether would be theoretically possible, and it would not break any of our macro models, okay? So with that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think Ethereum has enough juice left in it to get to 4K? What about 5K? Let me know in the comments. Remember, if you want to know how I'm navigating the markets, check out the premium list bull market sale. You can find a link to that in the description below. Lock in the lower rate. You'll get access to weekly reports and videos, the Telegram alerts channel, the Telegram chat room, the risk dashboard, the Into the Cryptoverse app, the first Into the Cryptoverse NFT, but we're actually capping that tomorrow. So if you want to get that, you need to sign up before tomorrow. But regardless, make sure you sign up to subscribe to the channel at the very least. Click the bell icon to turn on your alerts. Thank you guys for tuning in. Give the video a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.